Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Fuller, and as Chair of the Board, I welcome you to this April 4th, 2023 regular meeting of the Washtenaw County Board of Road Commissioners. Our office coordinator, Aaron Smith, will describe how our meetings operate, how to access the agenda packet, and how people may participate remotely. Aaron.
Thanks, Chair Fuller. There are multiple ways to make public comment during today's meeting, whether you're joining us in person or virtually. If you're here in person and would like to make public comment, please fill out the sign-in sheet now. If you're joining us virtually, we'll ask you to raise your hand at the appropriate time in the agenda. If you're joining us virtually and are experiencing technical issues with audio or video during the meeting, submit a comment in the chat feature and our communications manager will help you troubleshoot. The audio and video of this meeting is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be posted to wcroads.org in the next few days. There are printed copies of today's meeting agenda on the table here, and it is also posted on our website. And now I'll turn it over to Chair Fuller.
Thank you, Aaron. And I will now call this April 4th, 2023 regular meeting to order and ask Aaron to call the roll.
Chair Barb Fuller.
Present.
Vice Chair Rod Green is absent today. Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes, I'm here, present.
And then Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Present.
And the following directors are in attendance: Managing Director Cheryl Siddle, Director of Engineering and County Highway Engineer Matt Washtenaw, Director of Finance and IT Dan Ackerman. Director of Operations Adam Leip will not be in attendance today. He is attending the Michigan Public Service Institute in Mount Pleasant today.
All right, very good. If you would please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So move.
Support. Any discussion, any additions, changes, deletions? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would please.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes, the agenda is approved as presented. Next up are the acceptance of two sets of minutes. May I have a motion to accept the board meeting minutes of March 20th, 2023 as presented, appearing on pages 3 through 13 of the packet?
So move.
Support. Any changes, additions, deletions, or corrections? Seeing none, Aaron, please.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes, the board meeting minutes of March 20th are accepted as presented. May I now have a motion to accept the working session minutes of March 20th, 2023 as presented, appearing on pages 14 and 15 of the packet?
Madam Chair, I move to accept the working session minutes of March 20th, 2023.
Support.
Any additions, deletions, corrections? Aaron, if you would, please.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes, the working session minutes are accepted as presented. Next item is public comment. This is the time set aside on the agenda to receive comments from the public. This is not intended to be a period for dialogue. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to address the board. Aaron will now explain how people may be recognized to offer comments.
Since this is a hybrid meeting with both in-person and virtual attendees, we will take turns between those attending in person and virtually. For virtual attendees, we have provided some instructions on the screen on how to participate and make public comment. If you're attending this meeting virtually and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand now. If you dialed into the meeting from your phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. Our communications manager will unmute virtual participants with raised hands one at a time and will announce your username or last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn to speak. Please share your name and address before beginning your comments. Doesn't look like
Ms. Tiffany, are there any people and nobody online wishing to comment?
No.
Thank you. We will move on to written communications appearing on pages 16 through 20 of the packet. Commissioners, anything you want to draw attention to or ask about? Seeing none, we will bypass comment to staff follow-up to comment since there was none. New business, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, items 1 through 8, description and background on pages 21 through 99.
So move.
Support.
Any discussion, any items that you have questions about?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner McCollum.
I looked at the fitness reimbursement policy and I do like the update. It's a great improvement. The old one looked okay too, but this one really looks nice. I really like it.
Great. I hope many of our employees take advantage of it. Commissioner Yamas, anything?
No.
No?
Thank you.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded, I believe. Yes, Aaron? Okay. If you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
and Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes, the consent agenda is approved as presented, items 1 through 8. Next, we have one action item. May I have a motion to award the construction contract for the new main yard material storage building, also known as the Salt Barn? Background appears on pages 96 through 99. The motion itself appears on page 26.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Yamas.
I move that upon the recommendation of the Director of Operations and the concurrence of the Managing Director, the board hereby awards the contract for the construction of the new main yard material storage building and site improvements located at 555 North Zeeb Road, Ann Arbor, Michigan, 48103 to Phoenix Contractors, Inc. of Dexter, Michigan, for the amount of $5 million, $347,000. The board hereby authorizes and directs the chair and managing director to execute the contract with Phoenix Contractors.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Yamas.
I'd like to say that I read both of these and had a discussion about the choices and how we chose this, and it is a sound decision. They sound like a great company and ready to move forward with the project.
Thank you. Commissioner McCollum, anything?
I concur.
All right,
I looked at it and it was very good.
okay. If there's no further discussion, Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
and Commissioner Bart Fuller.
Yes, the action item is approved as presented. Next, we have reports from our county commissioner liaison. Ms. Oliphant, do we have anyone, either of our county commissioner liaisons anywhere? In case I'm not seeing them and they're there?
No, ma'am.
All right. We will move on then to report of the road commissioners, starting with Commissioner Yamas.
Thank you. On March 21st through the 24th, I attended the Lansing Highway Conference, which was very good. I always get the
County Road Association.
County Road Association Highway Conference was very educational. I really enjoyed it. It was also a legislative conference that I enjoyed, but I mostly enjoyed learning about all of the vendors and all the materials. It was a really good learning experience, which I'll have a lot of questions for. I also attended the chat on March 29th with no attendees.
All right, thank you. Commissioner McCollum.
Yes, March 21st, I attended the Commissioners Committee meeting in Lansing. And that's a committee that I did apply for to be on. So I'll know if I'm accepted in April, I believe. But it was very interesting. They plan the training for the conferences. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that. And on March 22nd, I attended the 2023 Highway Conference and Roadshow. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Green has an excused absence today, so we won't hear from him. I will report that on March 21st, I too attended the County Road Association's committee meetings. On that day, I have been appointed as a trustee to the Roads Plus Committee, which is the political action committee of CRA. And then the other days, the 22nd and 23rd, I attended the County Highway Conference in general, sat in on many of the breakout sessions. I too believe it was a worthwhile session. And then on Thursday morning, I attended the CRA annual meeting, which is always interesting, where they talk about the various innovative awards they're called the Impress Awards. And that adjourned around 11:30 or 12 noon. On April 1st, I attended a panel discussion. I was not a panelist, but I attended the discussion about Washtenaw County's innovative gun violence interruption and prevention efforts. And that concludes my report. Next up, we have the report of the managing director and her staff people and any updates you can share with us. Background on pages 100 through 108 of the packet. Cheryl.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. I'll start by asking if any of the commissioners have questions about the information presented. All right. Couple of things that I'd like to share. On March 23rd, Adam Lape and I attended the Township Supervisors meeting. It was well attended. I believe there were approximately 10 supervisors in attendance, so that was nice. We talked a lot about the local roads, condition of local roads, local road program, and a lot about asset management and planning for that. So that has certainly been something that all of our staff, operations in particular, has been focusing on of late. With those township agreements starting to come in. But it was a good meeting and lots of good questions, and we were glad to continue to share that information and point back to the township booklets that are distributed and also on our website. So that was a very good and productive meeting that we had. As a follow-up, we actually are meeting on April 10th with Bridgewater Township. That's again specifically to talk about road and culvert improvements within that township. So that'll be next Monday. Adam Lape and I will be attending that as well. As a result of the legislative reception that sort of did not happen at the CRA Highway Conference because of an extended legislative session, is my understanding, for them in Lansing that day. The communications team, specifically Tiffany Oliphant and I, have been working on putting together communication for a legislative breakfast that we will hold here. We're looking at Monday, April 24th at 8 a.m. And we will invite the same people who we had hoped would come when they were up in Lansing, but we'll host that here, hopefully picking a day where they are not in session, but that they can also start their day with us before they go about other business that they may have in the community as well. So stay tuned, but we're trying to get those invitations out here very shortly, since that will be before us before we know it. Couple other endeavors that we've had going. One thing that we've been working on is we have partnered with Gallup Association. They do the polling, and we have contracted with them to do an employee engagement survey. So that just went out to our employees. So there's a 12-question survey that they put out there. It's uniform 12 questions regardless of the type of employer that you are. But it's a way of starting to measure what our employees think. Obviously, what we're looking at is an engaged workforce, is a productive, a safe workforce, and just really trying to get at sort of a baseline of what our employees think of us as a place of employment, and then trying to measure how we're doing, where we can focus improvement, and then, hopefully start to build on that moving forward. It is a 3-year process, so we're starting right now. This is the baseline survey, so we will obviously do this again a year from now, hopefully having had some training in place, especially focused on our supervisors, but other training that may come out of this survey as well. And then we can, take our temperature again in a year and see how we're doing and hopefully continuing to improve. Continuous improvement being sort of the name of the game on all of that, but we're really excited about that. And the nice thing about Gallup is it's completely confidential. They're a third-party company. They do this professionally for a living. So, you know, our employees can do it in a couple of different options on how they can go about doing it, but it's completely confidential on their part, but the information then is compiled together and presented so that it is useful though to the supervisors so they can also see how they're doing and where there's potential room for improvement for them. So something that we're very excited about, but that started this week and the survey will be open for 2 weeks and then we'll take a look at where we're actually at with that. So that was a good thing. I do have another meeting that is scheduled next week on, let's see, the 12th, and that is with the Western Field Representative for Representative Debbie Dingle. So hoping that Georgia Frost is her name. She'll be coming in and it's just an opportunity to educate her a little bit about the Washtenaw County Road Commission. I know that Representative Dingle, a lot of her district in the past has been in Wayne County, which is a very different governance structure than Washtenaw County. So I look forward to the opportunity to meet with Georgia Frost and hopefully develop that relationship so that if there's anything transportation related that's going on at the federal level, we at least know who to reach out to and likewise who they can reach out to if they have any questions, how that might apply to our organization as well. So definitely looking forward to that. I guess the last thing that I will share is that this week is a short week for our office. We do on Thursday officially start our 10-hour schedule. So 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. So that's Monday through Thursday, 6 to 4:30. That's the official office, including the lobby hours. So for most of our staff will be working that. And then we do receive Good Friday as a holiday. Since that's a Friday and we're starting into our summer hours, Good Friday will be celebrated on Thursday. Like we couldn't make that any more confusing. So the office this week is only open Monday through Wednesday tomorrow, and we will be closed Thursday and Friday. Next week will be on our regular summer hours, which is Monday through Thursday, 6 to 4:30, office lobby open those hours.
Commissioner Yamas, you have a question?
Yeah, so everyone's working 4/10s this week?
Starting on Thursday, which actually ends up being a holiday.
I
Yes.
see. Okay, okay.
Yes. I'll let Dan explain why we have the goofy work week that we do. We start on a Thursday for whatever reason, as far as our
Summer hours.
well, any of our like start of pay is always Thursday through Wednesday.
Yeah, so maybe you could explain, how does that end up having Wednesday off? I mean, I'm happy for you guys.
Well, we end up having Thursday off. So we're
Okay.
open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're on
Oh,
our
and then-
traditional hours, 7 to
Right.
3:30.
6 to 3:30.
6.
Oh.
This week it's 7 to 3:30, normal hours. Thursday is when we would start our summer schedule, which
It's
is
a
6 to
holiday.
4:30. That ends up being a holiday.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
if that made any sense.
It did. It did.
And then just throw in the fact that it's Good Friday, we're celebrating on Thursday, and that's where just the wheels fall off the bus.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but call me and I'm happy to answer any
So
questions.
I used to run into those weirdo sort of things on
Yeah,
4/10s.
Exactly, exactly. So with that, now that I've confused everybody, if you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I can hand it over to Matt McDonnell, our Director of Engineering.
I'd just like to know if the supervisors had any questions for you. I know you typically have a presentation ready for them, but did they have any questions since we have received notice that there are a number of changes within the ranks of the township supervisors that are coming up soon?
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
most of the questions were about, just different types of road improvements,
Okay.
that we can do. And we tried not to get too specific because obviously each township has different roads that they're looking at or different sets of priorities. So we did do a presentation for them. I think that they thought that that was helpful. But as soon as questions started getting very road specific, obviously we're like, well, we'd be happy to talk to you about you individually about your specific township.
Are any of them looking at the culvert matching program.
Many of them are, and I think
That's
that,
great.
you know, Matt can certainly touch on
Oh,
that.
sorry.
It's been a collective effort. Yes, exactly. It's been a collective effort on that, but certainly
That's
there's a
great.
lot of interest in the culvert program right now.
Okay.
Matt McDonnell, Director of Engineering. One of the things I was going to report on, we are fielding numerous questions on the ARPA grant program
Yeah.
offered by our Water Resource Commissioner's Office. We're working with townships on potential grant applications, and we're offering our assistance in helping them put together those grant applications. And ultimately, it's stormwater improvement, and we feel that culverts are a good fit for that type of project. And so numerous townships have reached out. We've provided basically an a la carte. Here's a few that you could consider and let us know. And then we're expecting that a dialogue and feedback. We're providing pricing and helping answer some of the questions that are in the application form as well. So that's where we're at.
That's great. And if I can just interject for the record, that's extremely helpful for the townships that have very limited staff and board members with expertise to even draft a proposal to submit.
Absolutely. They don't have to hire a consultant. They don't have to have someone on their board or staff. We are their resource for this. In fact, I was just talking to a trustee from Webster Township this morning, so on potential culvert projects. So, and even what we're seeing some of the more difficult township culvert replacements are those border roads. So we're seeing that some of the border roads, hey, this is a great advantage where one township could apply for this grant, and then both townships can really reap the benefits of having that grant funding. So
are any of them pooling or teaming up?
right
on
now,
an
we're
application?
just facilitating conversations. We're really, it's at their request.
Mhm.
So a lot of conversations being had for those borderline roadways
Mhm.
between townships. But I think everyone sees this as a good thing, and we're willing to help where we can.
I'm glad to see that the townships know we're allies in all of this and they're coming to you for some help.
Absolutely. Aaron Burkholz and others in the design and construction area are really assisting and doing all the heavy lifting. But ultimately, applications are due May 1st. So we've got a little time. So if any of those, if they come to you, feel free to direct them to me, and we'll get the questions answered.
Excellent.
Other than that, staff is continuing to make good progress in preparation for our construction season. We are also preparing with the lead of Dan Ackerman, our Director of Finance and IT, for budget discussions at the end of the month. So we're refining projects, getting bids in, and just doing what we can to prep for the working session, which I'll dovetail for Dan.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, things are going well. Any questions that you may have regarding any projects?
I don't see any.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Bet.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Dan Ackerman, Director of Finance and IT. And just a lot of dovetailing going on today, because the first thing I was going to talk about is our preparations for our first quarter 2023 first quarter budget review. We've got several meetings scheduled with staff, and just want to make sure we're all on the same page and comfortable with the numbers that we present to you at the working session on April 18th. Yeah, things are looking good. I'm just frantically scrambling to crunch some numbers to make sure I'm ready, and but I always look forward to the discussions and the input from everyone. And we want everyone to feel good about the budget that we present to you. So that's kind of a priority for me right now. I wanted to mention that this Thursday, so April 6th at 2 p.m., the state of Michigan has a webinar on the Protecting Michigan Pension Grant Program. And I know this has been of special interest to several of you. If you'd like, I would be more than happy to forward the webinar information, and you have to sign up for it and all that, but I mean, it's free. But if that's something the commissioners are interested in, I'll be more than happy to forward that to all of you.
Please do.
What's the deadline for applying for that assistance? I thought that was coming up.
It's mid-April. The
Oh,
date
okay.
escapes me.
Okay.
As far as I know, all the information isn't out there yet. I'm sure we'll learn more at the webinar. So it's going to be really tight to compile whatever they need to provide, whatever we need to provide them. But, you know, we're following it as closely as we can. So, you know, if they have the criteria, then we can prepare ahead of time. So we're ready to submit, you know, sooner rather than later. But, you know, we definitely won't miss that deadline.
Okay.
Yep.
So you'll circulate that link in case other.
I'll forward the
commissioners
link
wanna
to all the
jump in.
commissioners,
Okay.
yeah, in case any of you are interested. And
Thanks, Dan. And pre-registration is required, you said?
yes.
Okay,
Yep, and that it has the link for all that. So,
great. Thank you.
Yep. I'm also working on our 2022 Act 51 report. That's due by May 1st. And definitely a very important document to complete. So next, I'd like to draw your attention to page 91 of the board packet. Based on our conversations at the last board meeting, we have now masked the ACH and check numbers. And just wanted to draw your attention to that, make sure that it looked acceptable to all of you. So basically, the only information that is missing from what we normally provide is that information. We still have the dates and the vendor names and dollar amounts and all that, but just want to make sure that that's to the board's liking.
Looks good.
Commissioners, you understand if you ever have a question about any line item, please
Yes.
just get a hold of Cheryl or Dan.
Okay.
You guys have always been really good about helping explain.
Yeah.
What the heck is that
Absolutely.
$14,000 item?
Right. So does that look okay then?
Yeah.
Looks great.
Awesome. And so I want to recognize Jamie Kraus, who handles accounts payable. After that board meeting, I shared with her, she also thought it was a great idea, and probably within a half hour or so, she came up with a real efficient way to hide those numbers. I didn't want to like add 5 hours of work each time in order to be able to hide those, but she just really, you know, utilizing the technology at our disposal, she came up with a creative way to mask those. So kudos to Jamie. And so going forward, that's how you'll see our check and ACH information reported. You know, is it going to stop something or someone from committing fraud? Maybe. You know, it's just a small thing that we're trying to do. You know, anything we can do to try to protect the interest of this agency. So.
Any new tricksters that we're aware
Yeah,
of?
no.
Since we
It's you maybe jinxed it. No, it's been fine so far, so that's good. And then for IT, Josh continues to move right along with all the computer refreshes, which is great. We actually met this morning about a cell phone rollout plan for staff. And IT is going to set up shop in the assembly room for several days, and we'll have multiple employees come in, and we'll just you know, assembly line it or just kind of roll those out several at a time. So looking forward to that. And also just wanted to share, we are troubleshooting again with Precision as far as some user issues. And I think I may have shared with the board that Chris started making videos of some of the troubleshooting, so we could share that with Precision. So they can actually, you know, they can view it as many times as they want, they can stop. So he basically, through Teams, he can record, you know, the user shares their screen, he can record it and it's okay, show me the problem and so on. And so Precision like thanked Chris for doing that, and they're trying to implement more of that at their own place of employment. So I was just impressed that another software company is learning from us and learning from Chris, just a really innovative way to try to troubleshoot problems. So I just wanted to share that with the board. And I think that's just an awesome way to utilize technology.
We're lucky to have such
We are.
conscientious and talented IT staff.
I was just
Chris
sitting
and
there
Josh.
thinking, you know, Jamie, Tracy, Chris, Josh, I just feel really fortunate to work with the people I do. So
And they stay, so you must be doing something right.
I don't know, or there's just nothing better. I don't know. So
Agreed.
that's my report unless there's any questions.
Anything for Dan? I don't see
Great.
anything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
To follow up on the question of what the deadline is, Aaron determined that it is April 17th. So we will make sure that that is submitted on time
For the pension,
for the pension.
April
Yes.
17th.
Yes, exactly. And as Aaron also indicated earlier, Adam, as well as several other staff are currently up at the MPSI training in Mount Pleasant. We're pleased to be able to send them there. It's something that we truly believe in. And the board will have a taste of that because Lou Bender is the facilitator for that training. And he will also be facilitating a good portion of our spring training on May 31st. So you'll have an opportunity to meet Mr. Bender at that time and have a little bit of an idea of what it is that our folks learn about for a week, 3 years in a row. They go for that training. So
Remind me again what the acronym stands for, Michigan. what?
Michigan Public Service Institute.
And do they receive a certification or a certificate of
They do.
completion
When they
or?
graduate after 3 years, they go 1 week a year for 3 years
years.
running. It's a 3-year program. And, you know,
Commitment.
obviously a big commitment
Mhm,
on the individual's part.
And do we cover the cost of that for
We do.
them? And
Cover
they're
the-
paid when they attend
They are,
this? Great. Okay.
yes.
All about professional development, but we've got to make sure it's affordable for our employees as
Agreed.
well.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Yeah. Also on behalf of Adam, I will, well, and the rest of the organization, I will thank you for approving the award to Phoenix contractors. We're excited to get going on the salt barn. So that'll be one of the first things I do when I walk out of here is let everyone know that that award did take place. So we're excited to get going with that. And then I do know that our operations department is just, they're working hard right now. We're patching. It doesn't matter whether it's stone or cold patch that we're throwing down. We're throwing a lot of patch material down. They're also preparing for the upcoming construction season. So we're doing drainage and forestry work where we can. And certainly a lot of the administrative staff and the foremen are working on estimates. And you've seen some of the township agreements already starting to come in and they will continue to come in over a couple of board meetings. They've been working very, very hard and I think that it's been very productive to date. So the
Right.
operations department as well as the other staff have remained quite busy lately.
One question I have regarding operations and the salt barn, was there an opportunity for the state to help us with that? Don't I remember there was some incentive or subsidy or?
You are correct.
Okay.
Because we have, and we are a contract agency for MDOT.
Mhm.
They participate in the majority of the construction costs associated with this new facility. And they do so we prorate the costs based on how much of the material is being used on the state trunk line versus how much of the material is being used on the county system. So, and we do it based on previous usage, and then there is a look back at that, I believe 5 years after the fact, to determine whether that is still an accurate percentage. But right now, MDOT will be paying over 50% of the construction costs associated, certain construction costs, not all of them, but majority of the construction will be paid for over 50% by MDOT because of how much salt is being used on the state trunk line system.
Okay. Another accounting nightmare for Dan and his team.
Mhm. It is.
Great. Glad we're taking advantage of
Yeah,
that.
but it's worth the effort.
Absolutely. Any other questions for Cheryl or any of the directors? Anything further?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Please note that on April 18th, we have a 9 a.m. working session where we will review the first quarter. We'll have our first quarter budget review. And I believe the auditor is presenting at that meeting as well. And then at 1 o'clock that afternoon, we have our regular board meeting. Virtual chat sessions, as always, every Wednesday, noon to 1. April 5th will be Commissioner Green. That's tomorrow. And then on the 12th is Commissioner McCollum. If there's no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Ms. Aaron, please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Whatever you choose to do with it, I will hope we have sunny weather and 75 degrees.